One of the most revealing details about the US's decision to attack Iran is what happened before the strikes, according to reports. The alleged internal deliberations that happened, and they are somewhat indicative of an administration that just can't get their story straight or align with fellow Republicans on whether or not it's a bloody war or not, when all signs point to the former.
Trump's tone in talking about the dead U.S. service members, the ones who've lost their lives and the ones who may lose their lives in the future as just part of what happens in war, is representative of the shocking glibness with which Trump has handled this entire war.
Reports from inside the White House say that Trump's military advisors, including General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, warned the president against full-scale attack on Iran, briefing the president of peace that it could cost American lives, but also dangerously degrade already depleted weapon stockpiles. Trump dismissed a Washington Post report that Kane is, quote, against us going to war with Iran as 100% incorrect. But according to further reporting from CNN, there were more senior military leaders, including the Joint Chiefs of Staff, that laid out serious concerns about escalation and the risks of a wider regional war.
Watching people who know nothing of the horror that comes with this kind of violence. People who could not even imagine what it feels like in the pit of your stomach when you hear that one of your friends has been killed. Or watching one of your best friends be ripped apart by high explosive. Watching people who have no idea what any of this looks like or feels like celebrate this disgusts me. And then watching them turn around and tell us that these sacrifices are just what happens. We just need to be prepared for more casualties because that's what happens. It's not what fucking happens to them. It's what happens to us.
Those concerns came during briefings with President Donald Trump and his national security team as they evaluated options for confronting Iran.
Thank you, President Trump. It sounds like the Russians are helping Iran target and attack Americans now.
That's an easy problem compared to what we're doing here. But can I be honest? It's just, I have a lot of respect for you. You've always been very nice to me. What a stupid question that is to be asking at this time. We're talking about something else. Can we keep this maybe a little bit? Go ahead, please.
But ultimately, the military advice did not determine the outcome. I guess Trump made the decision to move forward anyway. And in the days following, US forces have continued to launch strikes on Iranian targets, none more controversial than the attack that resulted in the death of almost 150, which, as of today, investigators are saying was likely at the hands of the United States.
Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, nobody is defending the Ayatollah. There is no love lost for a brutal government that sponsors terror and murders their people. Iran has been doing this for decades. Everybody knows that. And so my question is this. Why wasn't Donald Trump in favor of regime change until this weekend? Why did he campaign on swearing he would never send American kids to fight and die in the Middle East? Republicans can't answer because they were against war with Iran until exactly the second Donald Trump decided to go to war. And now they're all running around sounding like neocon lunatics. America can't take this level of gaslighting. I went to the classified briefing. There was no imminent threat. I guess unless Republicans want to redefine the word imminent to mean stretching back 47 years. This whole thing is just so transparently built on lies. Republicans went from imminent threat to regime change to nukes back to imminent threat in the last 24 hours. I'll tell you what this is, Mr. Speaker. This is Iraq 2.0. I still remember the lies about WMDs. I voted against that war too. At least George Bush had the decency to lie to people's face. And by the way, no congressional vote can legitimize this because there was no imminent threat. There was no UN Security Council resolution. So this war is illegal no matter what you want to call it. And it's not Donald Trump's kids that will have to go fight and die for their draft-dodging dad. It's not the children of the billionaire Epstein class. It's working-class kids who are going to put their lives on the line. Shame on Republicans. I'm sick of this BS. We're spending billions of dollars a day on a war, and we can't even get Republicans to join us to expand health care in America. How the hell is this America first? You guys broke your top campaign promise. Good luck with that. I hope the defense contractor money was worth it. Shame on you all. The mask is off. You're all just a bunch of
Your time's expired. Members are reminded to refrain from engaging in personalities toward the president.
And listen, the uncertainty surrounding the decision to go to war is compounded by something else. The administration's explanations for the war have shifted repeatedly. At various points, officials have cited that it was down to Iran's missile program, despite claims that they obliterated it last year.
For America and for the world.
And just to follow up for clarity, you said, yes, it was completely and totally obliterated, because there have been different assessments on exactly how much damage has been done.
We are confident, yes, that Iran's nuclear sites were completely and totally obliterated, as the president said in his address to the nation on Saturday night. And we have a high degree of confidence that where those strikes took place is where Iran's enriched uranium was stored. The president wouldn't have launched the strikes if we weren't confident in that. So this operation was a resounding success, and administration officials agree with that, as well as
and potential nuclear escalation this year. They've also claimed it's to protect US allies, which again prompted questions from Democrats regarding whether we are attributing alleged threats to Israel as the same as threats to the United States.
Let's also be clear. I've said before, I've said now, there was no imminent threat to the United States of America by the Iranians. There was a threat to Israel. If we equate a threat to Israel as the equivalent of an imminent threat to the United States, then we are in uncharted territory. We have seen the goals for this operation change now, I believe, 4 or 5 times.
But the explanations provided have not formed a single coherent narrative. Instead, they have evolved week by week, sometimes even contradicting one another.
I do want to push back on what Tyrus just said about, the media questioning whether we took Israel's lead in doing this as being a knock on President Trump's manhood. They're following the facts. They listened to Secretary Rubio yesterday, and he cleaned up those comments today. But they also know about the briefing that the Pentagon gave on Sunday, where they directly refuted the story coming out of the White House. And they told congressional staffers that it wasn't that Iran was going to attack us. It's that if Iran got attacked by somebody else, then they were going to attack us. And that somebody else was Israel. Those are just the facts on the ground. It doesn't make you anti-Israel or, not a Zionist to talk about that reality. And you see the domino effect. Caroline Leavitt tweeting out pieces in the National Review saying, no, Rubio didn't say this. President Trump saying Iran was going to attack first. That also flies in the face of what the Pentagon briefers were saying. If we were so prepared for this to happen, I find it hard to believe that there would be thousands of Americans stranded across the region.
And when reports signal that military leaders appear cautious while the political leadership pushes forward anyway, the result is then a perception problem. It's hard to believe Donald Trump when he claims that these reports aren't accurate. First of all, he's a serial liar, so why should we believe him?
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. This was our last best chance to strike. We more and more are not wanting to be the policemen of the world. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat. She would get us into World War III. They're drafting you to go and fight in some country that I've never heard. We may have casualties. That often happens in war. Sadly, there will likely be more.
But secondly, they can't even align themselves on whether they are calling it a war or not. When you go into another country and you try to obliterate their naval base and you bomb a school, killing 150, that seems like a war, and a horrendous one at that. The perception is creating a political problem inside of Trump's own coalition also.
A brand new CNN poll out right now showing high disapproval of President Trump's strikes on Iran. A brand new CNN poll found that nearly 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of the airstrikes on Iran. And there are few signs of good news for the president elsewhere in this poll. 59% of Americans say they don't trust President Trump to make the right decisions on the use of force in Iran. 60% of Americans do not believe the president has a clear plan on how to handle the situation. My panel is back now.
For years, the MAGA movement defined itself by opposition to forever wars in the Middle East, and Trump himself ran on promises to end foreign entanglements and bring American troops home. But this conflict cuts directly against that narrative, and he continues to make sweeping claims about how this is just how war goes and that there may be more casualties as a result. His lack of empathy is nothing short of disgusting regarding it. And instead of winding down US involvement overseas, the administration has opened a new and potentially expansive military confrontation that we're now being told could go on until September at an estimated cost of $1 billion a day. All while here at home, the American people clearly are struggling. And the backlash has been visible, right? Prominent MAGA voices, including conservative commentators and influencers who have made a career out of protecting and coddling Donald Trump, have questioned why the United States is entering yet another Middle East war, asking what the endgame is and whether the conflict aligns with the America First policies.
And I want to know, where the hell is J.D. Vance? Where is he? Where is Tulsi Gabbard? Because if they stand by and are silent, and they're turning back on the same words they said. It's all on video. All of them are on video saying it, just like I'm on video saying no more foreign wars, no more regime change. I'm on video on campaign stages and at Trump rallies saying the exact same thing. But where's JD and where's Tulsi?
Look, there are massive divisions over what we've done here, and people are going to change their minds over the coming days and weeks, one way or the other. But my own feeling is no one should have to die for a foreign country. I don't think those 4 service members died for the United States. I think they died for Iran or for Israel. I think I understand how this helps Iran perfectly well. I get it. I mean, I hope. Long term, we'll see. But they seem rather jubilant. 80% of the country does not support the Ayatollah. He was a terrible, terrible man. No one's crying that he's dead. No normal person. But our government's job is not to look out for Iran or for Israel. It's to look out for us. And this feels very much to me like it is clearly Israel's war. Mark Levin wanted it. It's his war. Ben Shapiro, Lindsey Graham, Miriam Adelson. That's obvious. They're the ones who've been pushing us into.
And while these strikes may demonstrate American military power, which let's not pretend otherwise, it rallies Republicans more than anything. I mean, just listen to the likes of Lindsey Graham froth at the mouth. It's disgusting, right?
About it. So I'm calling on President Trump today. Join Israel to attack Hezbollah. Avenge the Marines. America never forgets. Those 220 Marines and 18 sailors' families. We want to go after the infrastructure that killed your loved ones. Their IRGC assets in Beirut as I speak. President Trump, come up with a new operation called Simplify. Fly with Israel and go after Hezbollah, who has American blood on its hands. Not only take the mothership of Iran down, also take the proxy of Hezbollah, settle the score, even the account.
But if even the coalition that brought Trump to power, some of the most staunch MAGA supporters, are questioning why the war started in the first place, then it's clear the president faces a challenge regarding the perception and ultimately faces a crisis of credibility.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.